Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing on today? I am super duper excited. I'm fangirling, all of that good stuff because we get to hang out with award winning author ReShonda Tate. And guys, this is her hot off the press historical debut, Queen of Sugar Hill. Oh my goodness, ReShonda. First of all, I want to say welcome to the cafe, my friend. I know you may spill a little bit of tea. There was some tea spilling in this book as well, but I want to welcome you to the cafe and allow you, my friend, to introduce yourself to the people.
Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm ReShonda Tate, and I am the author of The Queen of Sugar Hill, and I'm so excited to be here talking about this amazing book. I've been working on it for 3 years, so I am so ecstatic to see it come to fruition.
I love that. I love that. Well, we thank all of you guys for joining us. And of course, you know how we do it here at the cafe. I like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend to come on down to the cafe because we're hanging out with ReShonda Tate. Now, ReShonda, okay. So, first of all, let me just tell you my reaction. First of all, when you did the cover reveal, when you made it known that you was going to be writing a historical fiction talking about Hattie McDaniel, I was super duper joyed. Okay. And then ReShonda, somehow I received a NetGalley arc of the Queen of Sugar Hill. This is a book that, like, of course, I read it in like no time. It was so good. It's a page turner. But literally, ReShonda, I want you to know, my friend, I felt like I had a front row seat to the picture show and you was spilling all the tea. Okay. And there was so many things that I learned about Hattie McDaniels. There was moments where I was clutching my pearls. I mean, look, them husbands, we gonna say it like that. I have to say them husbands. But anyway, I just wanted you to know that my first reaction to this, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, ReShonda has did her thing. And even though this was your historical debut, it was just like, wow. So what is that like for you to get some of your readers that have read your stuff before, you switch over to historical fiction and that's the reaction you get? Tell us how that feels.
Yeah, it's a wonderful feeling because you don't know whether the reader is going to come along with you on this new journey. But I remember I told my sister she loves my mainstream writing. And she was like, historical fiction, I don't want to read. I said, just trust me. You know how I do it. And that's what I tell readers. I'm going to bring the storytelling aspect. The difference is that the drama was already there. Hattie already there.
Yes. Now, ReShonda, a lot of us, of course, we are book cover nerds, okay? And so when you did your cover reveal, I love this cover. What was that like for you when you got what your final cover would look like?
Oh my goodness. It's so interesting that you say that because I didn't like it.
Oh, okay.
When they first sent it to me, I was like, I don't like that. I want a woman with her back to, her elegant woman with her back to me. And Victoria Christopher Murray, my dear friend, she said, you mean like this? And she sent me a book cover. And she said, or like this? And she sent me another book cover. Or like this. And they were all these historical fictions with that same back to the audience. And so I was like, oh, okay. My editor said we wanted something that showed movement. That show. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm feeling that.
Okay.
So it took me a minute to get there, but I'm glad I did because that's one of the things I get from all audiences is that they love the cover and they love that it's different.
Yeah. And I totally get it showing movement. I mean, I love the person hanging out the car with the yellow scarf, like flowing in the wind. And then the driveway. I mean, the Hollywood up in the mountains, all of that. I love that as well. Now, ReShonda, let's talk a little bit about this title. Okay. And if you could spill a little tea, was this your original working title or it kind of evolved as ReShonda went through this story?
This has been my title from the beginning. And so I went to her home in Sugar Hill. We were out there doing some research and I was just there and her, I know this may sound crazy, but her spirit was talking to me. Like, tell my story, tell my story. And
Okay.
I'm like, she is the queen. And her home in Sugar Hill was something I did not know. And
Wow.
so that's where I was like, we're going to call this the Queen of Sugar Hill because
Wow.
that's what she was.
And look, I am totally with you. Yes, she was definitely the queen of Sugar Hill. And we're going to get into that a little bit about that whole court case and all of that too. But before we go there, ReShonda, you said something that I definitely want to talk about. You talked about research and you talked about that it took you about 3 years with this story or what have you. Can you share with the people today, what was that research like for you?
Yeah, so you think that you just go online. I quickly discovered that the majority of the stuff online was wrong.
Oh,
I was dumbfounded by the amount of erroneous information that I found online. Case in point, if you go to Wikipedia, you go to all these places, it talks about Hattie's husband, George Langford. Well, when I try and verify this and confirm this, I couldn't find that anywhere outside of online. Now, it's in a million articles online. Well, long story short, Hattie never had a husband named George Langford.
whoa, child, the tea.
Somewhere along the line, somebody wrote it and somebody else picked it up, and the story has just gone through the years. And so
Wow.
I got offline and I went to research libraries and I did census records and newspapers. I studied a whole lot of old newspapers, especially Black newspapers. And so that's where I was able to get my information from, as well as letters that she wrote.
Wow. Wow. Now, ReShonda, would you say, because again, this is your historical debut with historical fiction, when you think about it and on your journey so far, would you say that historical fiction found you or did you find it?
Oh, good question. Good question. Historical fiction found me because I was ready to retire. I have 53 books. I've been writing mainstream fiction, and I was just like, okay, what's next for me in life? I do screenwriting, so I was like, well, maybe I'm gonna do screenwriting. And Hattie tapped me on my shoulder, said, "No, ma'am, not yet. You're not leaving. You're not leaving this fiction world. I got something for you. You need to tell my story."
Yes, yes. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, that you need to tell her story, because that was my next question for you. What was it about Hattie McDaniel for ReShonda Tate to say, you know what, I gotta get this story out. I gotta tell her story?
Because I think that we often look at Hattie McDaniel and actors of her time through our 21st century lens, and we judge her through that lens. Yeah. And so I wanted us to take off the lens. And as my grandmother said, when I first told her I didn't like Hattie McDaniel, is look at it, the fact that it was 1939. What was Hattie supposed to play? Was she supposed to be Scarlett O'Hara? And so once I looked at that, and then my grandmother also said, and she's playing a maid, yet I am a maid, but you don't look at me with disdain. So why are you looking at her with disdain? Right. And I never thought about it. So over the years, I just really took off that 21st century lens and looked at Hattie for the legend that she was. And I said, okay, the world needs to know this. The world needs to know about Sugar Hill. Why do we not know that I can live in my nice suburban neighborhood thanks to Hattie McDaniel?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I definitely want to talk about that. Guys, of course, the book is called The Queen of Sugar Hill, but this is where Hattie McDaniel lived. And guys, I mean, even when you described what her house looked like, she was very proud, and she should have been, of her home or what have you. And look, and Hattie liked to party a little bit too. Look, she threw these fabulous parties, all of these things. But tell us a little bit about, in your research and finding out about this court case that really did happen.
Yes. So Hattie McDaniel moved to the West Adams district. It was renamed renamed Sugar Hill after the neighborhood in New York. And she was so happy to be there. She bought a mansion. She paid $10,000 above asking cost. And then her neighbors, her white neighbors, sued her and other Black residents, saying, we don't want you here. And there is a little known law called restrictive covenants that says homeowners cannot sell their homes to anyone who is not of European descent. And so they sued Hattie on those grounds. Well, Hattie led the class action suit, if you will, and they didn't expect her to win because it is 1940s. It is the 1940s. but she won the case. And that case ended up being the catalyst for the case in the Supreme Court saw that struck down the restrictive covenants. And so people don't even realize we can live anywhere we want to live because Hattie fought to take this case to court.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. And even in the book, I enjoyed reading that and learning that. And ReShonda, this is one of those books, like you said, a lot of times people, they may on the surface feel like they know Hattie McDaniel, but you dig deep. I mean, you pull out some things where it's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And I'm sure some of that came from your research and all of that good stuff as well. But for you, what was something that was like surprising or a wow factor that you found out in doing your research?
Well, it was definitely a lot of this stuff with Sugar Hill because I researched more than just that case. There were so many cases around with Black and Brown. They did a lot with the Hispanics where they were trying to keep them all confined to certain areas of Los Angeles.
Wow.
So the effort behind that, and the mayor was behind it and everything, the effort behind that was astounding. So that, and then Hattie's just ongoing fight, her relationship with Clark Gable was a surprise to me.
Okay.
So I love pulling back the layers with that. And then her own love life. That was a big surprise to me as well.
Yes. Look, ReShonda, remember I say them husbands, okay? Them husbands. You gotta say it that way, them husbands. There was one husband where ReShonda, I'm probably gonna make you laugh, but I had a Color Purple moment. I was like, don't do it, Miss Steele, don't do it. I was like, I just knew that he was up to no good. So I'm just gonna leave that little Easter egg for you guys if you have not read it. But there is one of those husbands. I was like, Hattie, don't do it. I knew he was up to no good, and he was up to no good.
And somebody just asked me, well, why didn't she? Because this particular husband, takes her money and everything. And people are like, well, why did she fight him? I think Hattie was ashamed. I think she was like, I cannot believe I got. And so just not gonna tell nobody.
Right. Because for the most part, she was on top of it when it came to him. But at the end, I agree with you, ReShonda, as well. Guys, if you are just joining us, we are hanging out with ReShonda Tate on today, guys, talking about her latest release, The Queen of Sugar Hill. And of course, if you guys have a question or two or a comment, definitely put it in the comment section. We'll be sure to include you as well. Now, ReShonda, I know you have been busy. I know the readers want, but let me know. Are you able to read us a little short snippet or give us a little tea?
I can always do that. if I can find.
And guys, while she is getting her book or what have you, we will be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of The Queen of Sugar Hill. Guys, this book is available in ebook, it's available in audio, and it is also available in print. It is definitely one of those books that you will want to tell a friend about this book. Like I said, I know when I finished reading it, I wanted everybody to have read it because I needed somebody to talk to. But my daughter, and ReShonda, I think I shared this when you came to Quail Ridge. My daughter, guys, is so into this book. I mean, her and I was having conversations about this book as well, and she is enjoying it as well, ReShonda. So I wanted to let you know that as well. And so we're ready when you are.
All right. Well, this is just a quick scene from the NAACP convention in 1942, and again, this really happened. This is the executive director who is what the equivalent of the president of the NAACP. And he is about to make a presentation on stage. Hattie McDaniel is sitting in the audience. I have worked tirelessly to urge filmmakers to make a complete break with the tradition of showing Negroes as menial characters who were nothing more than grinning Uncle Toms, Walter White said. We are sending a direct message to colored Hollywood veterans regarding their responsibilities in the struggle. I began shifting uneasily in my seat as all feelings of euphoria dissipated. I knew this was veering into a lane to attack actors like me. Mr. White continued, we're asking Negro actors to play their roles with sincerity and dignity instead of mugging and playing the clown before the camera. I wasn't the only one who thought Walter White was talking about me. I could feel the hot glare of attendees as he spoke. I kept my gaze on the stage. Many of you have been reading the news about my discussions with the studio heads about our portrayal in cinema, he continued. I have been negotiating directly with the studios to change the roles available to colored actors in Hollywood. I'm happy to report that my nearly 3 years of meetings have been successful, and I anticipated that in the near future, colored cinematic characters will receive significantly more respectful and realistic treatment. He paused as more applause filled the room. I didn't clap until my husband bumped me with his elbow to let me know people were watching. I inhaled through my nose, turned my attention back to Walter White, and proceeded with a slow clap. And to show you that these producers are listening to our concerns, I have some wonderful news to share, he continued. I would like to invite an amazing actress to the stage. Walter paused and motioned toward where I was sitting in the front row. Oh my, I definitely hadn't expected him to acknowledge me. I guess that's why I'd been extended a personal invitation. I moved my pearl bag to the side, preparing to stand, though I was thoroughly confused because of our contentious history. But before I got out of my seat, the young actress I'd met earlier, who was seated 3 seats down from me, stood. Please help me welcome Hollywood newcomer Lena Horne, Mr. White said. My face was flushed with embarrassment as I sank back in my seat. Lena hugged Mr. White once she was on stage. He stepped from behind the podium, took her hand, lifted it, and twirled her around like they were in the middle of a ballroom dance. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the perfect image of the new cinematic Negro. His voice boomed, the acoustics in the room seeming to amplify every syllable. She's articulate, sophisticated, thin, light-skinned, and extraordinarily beautiful. Lena smiled as she waved to the audience. I couldn't believe the way he was prancing her around or the way the crowd seemed to be eating it all up. His arm wrapped around her waist as he pulled her to him. Mr. White continued, that makes Lena the perfect person to establish a different kind of image for Negro women. It is time that we get rid of the grinning, darky stereotype, the swiveled-eyed cretins who shuffle, jig, and drop consonants through the films that not only reach America, but the whole world. White and colored. America. He paused and glared down at me on the front row. Hattie McDaniel's mammy is no more.
Woo, chat. The tea. ReShonda, that was one of those moments where I told you that it was clutching your pearls. I was like, oh my god. I mean, I felt for Hattie McDaniel. Like, I was like, oh my goodness. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. It was just, man. So guys, you just got a front row seat. As I told you, that's what happened at the NAACP. But again, I felt it all for Hattie McDaniel. What was that like to write that scene, ReShonda?
You know, it was so, my heart hurt for her because she didn't want to go in the first place because they had such a contentious relationship. But she kept trying to take the high road. And I think that sometimes she would do herself a disservice because she would keep trying to take the high road and keep getting knocked down. And then she would retaliate. And that would end up, making things even worse for her. But she just couldn't catch a break. Now, having said that, Hattie would be the first to tell you, don't weep for me because my life was tragic. Don't weep for me because I choose to focus on the positive. And that's one I loved about her is that no matter how many times life knocked her down, she continued to get up.
Yes. And ReShonda, and hold her head up high. And I can imagine, because y'all, let me just tell you, Hattie McDaniel liked to dress as well. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
She liked to dress. And I can just picture her, with her own Hattie McDaniel strut. Okay. I could just, you see, I'm so extra, but when I was reading this, I could just see her with her head held high, all of this good stuff. But ReShonda, I wanted to talk about something with you that, again, there was moments that this book pulled at my heartstrings because it was like you said, she couldn't catch a break from the white folks, other black folks. And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, she's getting it from the NAACP. She's getting it from the white folks. What was that like, bringing that to life to show people that she was battling on both ends?
She felt like I'm not welcome in either one of these worlds. White people don't like me because they think Mammy's too sassy. Black people don't like me because they think I'm this demeaning stereotype. And Hattie's thing was, what would you have me to do? I would
Mhm.
love to do something else. I'd love to be Wonder Woman. I'd love to be a president of a top firm. But this is
Mhm.
all I can do. So what would you have me to do? And that was her inner turmoil because imagine everybody's pulling at you and they want you to do all these things, but then nobody is giving you a platform or an opportunity to do those things.
Right, right. Thank you for sharing that. Guys, if you are just joining us, we're hanging out with ReShonda Tate. It is her new novel, Queen of Sugar Hill. And of course, if you have a question or comment or two, definitely be sure to put it into the comment section. Now, ReShonda, we're going to do a little bit of word association, or it may be a phrase that I'm going to say pertaining to the book. And you are going to share with us what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear this word association. Are you ready, my friend?
I am ready.
All right, first up, Howard University.
Excellence.
Okay. Clark Gable.
Friend.
Okay. Red carpet.
Oh, okay. Let me explain why the hesitation. Because that's
Mm.
my one regret in Hollywood, my red carpet incident. I'll have to tell you about that sometime. So that's where my head immediately goes. Missed opportunity. Because when I won the NAACP Image Award, I was not there when they called my name because I was on the red carpet posing.
Okay. All right. Last one, Mammy.
More than Mammy.
Mm.
And that was Hattie's goal. She wanted everybody to know that she's more than Mammy.
Mm-hmm. 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 Now, Rashonda, and I'm glad that you said that about the character of Mammy, but I also want you to share a little bit about what inspired this and also a conversation that you had with your grandmother about Gone with the Wind and about Hattie McDaniel and her character. Can you share a
Yeah,
little
so
bit about that with us?
Yeah, so my grandmother loved Gone with the Wind, and she used to watch it all the time. And I didn't like it. And I just remember a conversation. She finally said, "Well, what is it you don't like about it?" And I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, Hattie is she's playing this maid, and she's so stereotypical and over the top." And my grandmother said, "But she's playing a maid, and I am a maid. So why do you
Mm.
choose to look at her with disdain?" And then that's when she also said, and plus it was 1939. What did you think she should play Scarlett O'Hara? And
Mm-hmm.
and I just realized we look at this, we look at Hattie and actors like her, we want to erase it because we only
Mm.
choose to look at the negative. But our ancestors, our grandmothers, as Hattie once wrote in one of her tirades, she said the very hands that toiled the soil and who changed your diapers and then changed clean homes for white folks. Now you want to wipe away all of that. And so
Mm.
her thing was, I love what I'm doing as an actress, but I would rather play a maid than be a maid. And so,
Mm-hmm.
that was her dilemma the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Rashonda, I want to ask you this, and this kind of goes back to your research. This kind of goes back to you fleshing it out, fleshing the story out. I'm sure going through edits, all of that good stuff too. But if you had to sum up the characteristics of Hattie McDaniel, what would you say about her?
Absolutely resilient.
Mm.
Resilient in the face of diversity. I had someone ask me earlier, did she really think that the winning the Oscar was going to change her life? It was still Jim
Mm-hmm.
Crow. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that she thought it would change her life. I think she thought that it would change her path. And
Yeah.
thought that it would open doors. And
Mm-hmm.
as we see still to this day, that was Monique's dilemma. Halle Berry said she didn't get what she thought she would get from winning the Oscar. And so, unfortunately, many of our actresses today are dealing with the exact same thing they were dealing with back then.
Wow, wow. Well, Rashonda, we do have a giveaway. The Literary Cafe is giving away an ebook copy of Queen of Sugar Hill. And I am going to get you to assist me. We're going to go up and down the comment section. And you're going to tell me when to stop. And that person will be the winner of our giveaway on this evening. All right, Rashonda, I am ready when you are.
All right, I'm ready. And stop.
Okay. Oh, Okay, Juliet, you are the winner of an ebook copy of The Queen of Sugar Hill. If you will inbox me, I'll be sure to get that over to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us and participating on today. Congratulations to you. Now, ReShonda, we're almost done. And of course, my friend, you will definitely be sharing with us how we can get our hands on a copy of it. You'll be telling us how we can stay connected with you. But before we do that, my friend, I want to ask you, after you have finished writing Queen of Sugar Hill, is out in the world, all of that good stuff, can you share with us, what do you want readers to take away from Queen of Sugar Hill?
Well, one, that she was more than Mammy, which is what she
Mm-hmm.
desperately wanted people to know. And then to look at Hattie McDaniel through, not through your 21st century lens. Because, that whole 2020 effort to cancel Gone with the Wind and cancel Mammy, in 2020, I think that really would have hurt Hattie, because she's like, I was just an actress doing my job. If we
Mm-hmm.
look at it through the time that it was the lens of that time, we can have a newfound respect for her. In fact, we might not ever like Gone with the Wind, but you got to look at, if you're a fan of the movie, you will see that Mammy ran that plantation.
Mm-hmm.
Mammy was the stronghold of that plantation. And so that is the type of thing that I want us to focus on, not the negative part of this woman
Yeah.
job that's all she had to do at the time.
I love that. I love that. Guys, if you're just joining us, we're hanging out with ReShonda Tate and talking about her latest release, Queen of Sugar Hill. Of course, we will be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of this amazing story. And I also want to let you know, of course, ReShonda is going to tell you some places that you can get it from. And two places that I know that have copies of it is Riches in Reading, which is an indie bookstore. You can get a copy from there. You can also, in my local area, Quail Ridge Books, you can get signed copies of Queen of Sugar Hill there as well. And then I'm going to let ReShonda share with you some other places where you can get Queen of Sugar Hill.
Yeah, I left some autographed copies at Turning Page bookstore and Rousseau's bookstore. So, I urge people to support independent booksellers. If you can't, wherever you get books, it's sold. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you buy books, you can buy it.
I love that. And guys, let me just tell you again, it is available in all three formats. So whatever suits your fancy, whether it's audiobook, ebook, or print. And it's definitely one of those books, like I said, to tell a friend. And of course, after you read it, make sure you leave a review. I know that ReShonda Tate will be so appreciative of that as well. Now, ReShonda, it has been awesome hanging out with you. I have just been so overjoyed knowing that you was going to be coming to the cafe, hanging out with us.
Yes.
But please, my friend, tell us, how can we stay connected with you?
Yeah, so my website is ReShondaTate.com. All of my social media is linked there, and you can find Facebook, Instagram, and Threads and X. I'm on all of it. So please stay connected.
I love it. Now, ReShonda, you got to talk a little bit about this tour. You have been traveling. Oh my goodness. Can you tell individuals because I know now you're doing some virtuals, but you're getting ready to get back on the road. Tell them where they can find you next.
Yes, so I head to Minnesota. I don't know very many people, but hey, it's the Mall of Minnesota there. I head to Minnesota Thursday, and then I'm in Little Rock on Saturday, Little Rock, Arkansas at Pyramid Books at 2 p.m. And then I'm in Atlanta next week at Gwinnett County Library. So all of that information is on my website as well.
I love it, guys. Definitely make sure you go and check out her website. You can also check her out on social media. Find out where she's going to be at a city near you and go and see her talk about the Queen of Sugar Hill. When you get a copy, you may even want to get a copy for a friend as well, so you can have somebody to talk to about this amazing story. And ReShonda, of course, before we end on tonight, I want to allow you, my friend, to have the last words of what you want to say to the people.
Yeah, so I do. I so appreciate your support. I appreciate the reader support. And like you said, reviews are so important because that is what keeps the algorithms going when people come and leave reviews. So we definitely want you to leave the reviews and just continue to spread the word. If you know anybody in the cities that I'm attending, please have them come out, because publishers don't like to tour us anymore. They say people don't really come out. So I love showing them differently.
I love that. I love that. Well, guys, and there you have it. And that's our show on tonight. It has been amazing hanging out with ReShonda Tate, talking about her latest release, The Queen of Sugar Hill. Just a reminder, it is available where books are sold. And definitely don't forget to write a review. And of course, make sure that you are following ReShonda Tate. You can follow me. You can follow me on my YouTube channel or subscribe to my YouTube channel, Angela Anderson's YouTube. You can follow me on social media to include Instagram and Facebook as well. Guys, it's been amazing hanging out with you. Don't forget to tell a friend to get a copy of The Queen of Sugar Hill. And as we always say, have an amazing day, because we're having an amazing day. And until next time, we'll see you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.